This is Jeb Blunt, and it's Money Monday on the Sales Gravy Podcast.
Say make money, money, make money, money, money. Make money, money, make money, money, money. Money makes the world go round.
What's up, everyone? I'm back with another Money Monday episode of the Sales Gravy Podcast, and this one lands right in the middle of Christmas week for much of the Western world. Now, if you're celebrating Christmas, instead of selling, you're probably listening to this while knee-deep in the festivities or out doing some last-minute shopping. But if you're not part of the Christmas crowd, this week is important because it's the beginning of the mental transition into the new year, a new start, and a new selling season. For me, this week has always been the chance to pause, take a break from the grind of selling, and really think about what happened over the past year, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you're anything like me and do the same, there are two ways to look back on your last 12 months. You can do so with regret or with reflection. These two lenses are vastly different in the way they affect your view of where you've been and where you are going. Let's start by unpacking regret. Regret is that feeling you get when you look back on something you did or didn't do and wish you could change it. Some of you are already feeling regret about the goals you missed, deals you lost, opportunities that slipped through your fingers, or the people in your life you may have let down. In many ways, regret is similar to worry, except it's focused on the past instead of the future. Worry is about what might happen. Regret is about what already happened, and that's a big distinction. You can't rewrite the past. No amount of regret changes history. All it does is create a feedback loop in your mind where you keep reliving your mistakes, your misses, and your failures over and over again. I've seen so many people, sales professionals and otherwise, get stuck in this endless loop of regret. They keep thinking, if I only had made that call, if I had only handled that prospect differently, if I'd only taken that chance, if I'd only been there or done that. Those if-onlys can paralyze you. They sap your energy, crush your confidence, and they keep you from moving forward. Now, on one hand, regret can push you to change. You don't want to feel that kind of pain again, so you work hard to avoid repeating the same mistakes. On the other hand, regret can become a debilitating emotion that can drive you into an exhausting and useless mental loop of would've, could've, and should've. But no matter how many times you complete that loop, it doesn't change the outcome. It just becomes an emotional anchor that weighs you down as you start the new year. Reflection, on the other hand, is entirely different and far more productive. When you reflect, you detach from your emotions with objectivity to look at your entire body of work from the past year. You're asking the questions, what went well, what didn't go so well, and what did I learn? You consider the wins that made you proud and the moments you'd rather forget. You figure out why you won so you can repeat those winning behaviors, and you extract value from the lessons of failure. Reflection isn't about punishing yourself for what went wrong. It's about gaining clarity on why it went wrong and what you can do about it next time. Reflection also helps you find gratitude in unexpected places. Maybe there's a hidden lesson in overcoming an obstacle, or perhaps you gained a new perspective because a challenging person came into your life. It's important to realize that each path you chose over the past year shaped your present circumstances, but you are not defined by these circumstances, only by how you respond to them. The value of reflecting creates awareness, and where there is awareness, there is the potential for change. You see, awareness is like the sun. Anything that it touches, including you, has a tendency to transform. The bottom line is that reflecting is about learning, growing, and transforming, and regret is about stagnation. The reason I'm talking about this today is because for most of us, the slate really does feel clean come January 1st. In the sales world, we get a brand new quota, brand new targets. There's an air of possibility as we think, this year's going to be different. This year I'm going to crush my numbers, hit my income targets, make it to President's Club, get a promotion, and finally close that dream account I've been chasing. But if you don't take a moment to reflect on what worked and what didn't work, you're likely to find yourself repeating the same mistakes. Reflection is like an internal debrief, a chance to say, here's what happened, here's why, and here's how I'm going to fix it. Let me give you a personal example. At the beginning of last year, I set a goal for my sales training company, Sales Gravy. Now, this was a big, bold, visionary goal that would transform our organization and ultimately double our sales. I proudly and I confidently told my team that it was going to happen. And then, in an embarrassing crash and burn, I failed miserably. Now, I could have stewed in regret, beating myself up and letting my self-talk run wild about how I fell short, but that would have been a waste of time and energy. So instead, I chose reflection. I asked myself what happened and why I didn't achieve the goal. And as I thought over those questions, the answers came more clearly than I expected. One of the biggest insights I gained from this reflection was that I had set the big goal, but didn't establish a system or plan to make it happen. You see, a goal without a system is basically just a wish, and as they say, hope is not a strategy. If you say you're going to prospect 100 potential customers per week, but you haven't built a disciplined daily routine, built targeted lists, set aside specific times for calls, and created accountability checkpoints, it's not going to stick. Sooner or later, your big, bold goal gets overshadowed by a million other tasks. Without a system for achieving the goal, you quickly succumb to discipline fatigue. And this is exactly what happened to me. At the start of the year, I was fired up about my big goal. I was confident, energized, excited, and I believed that I could will the goal to happen just by saying that it would. Then my sales team started knocking it out of the park, bringing in new clients, and the work started to pile up. I was traveling, speaking, training, advising clients, writing a book, and dealing with everyday business firefights. And because I didn't have a system in place to support my audacious goal, as the grind wore me down and my discipline began to fatigue, I slowly but surely drifted off course. In my case, upon reflection, I realized that with a goal this big, the hubris to believe that I could just will it to happen with my enthusiasm was a failing strategy. Instead, I needed to hire more talent. To make this goal a reality, I need people who can lead the way and keep this project on track while I'm out speaking and working with our clients. I also needed to build a systematic, step-by-step system for achieving the goal rather than assuming we'd somehow just make it happen because I said so. As I look back, I'm grateful for my massive failure because it forced me to change my approach to leadership, add amazing new people to my team, and get much more dialed in with our business planning process. This is exactly why reflection can be your best friend this time of year. It allows you to own your failures without letting them define you, and it helps you leverage your successes by pinpointing what you did right. Regret says, you messed up, you'll never fix it, it's too late. Reflection says, you messed up, now let's find out why, learn from it, and do better next time. My challenge to you this week is to carve out time to reflect on your past year. I want you to set aside at least 30 minutes of pure silence. This means in a place with all of your devices turned off. Now, if you're like most people, silence is a rarity. You got phones buzzing, TVs blasting, kids running around, text messages pinging, and email notifications lighting you up. Therefore, you will need to be intentional about finding and creating a silent place to reflect. Then, close your eyes and mentally journey through the year. Start in January. What were your big goals? What was happening in your world at that time? Then move through February, March, April, and so on. Celebrate your wins. Which deals closed that made you proud? Which new relationships or connections had a big impact? What personal milestones did you hit? What did you accomplish? Identify your winning behaviors. The behaviors, the mindsets, and the disciplines that led you to these wins. And ask yourself, how can you turn them into repeatable habits? Next, acknowledge your failures or misses. What didn't go right? What deals did you lose and why did you lose them? What goals stayed out of reach? What opportunities slipped by? Where, when, and how did you fail yourself or let down the people around you? And ask why. Don't just accept failure, dig into it. Find the lessons and identify the behaviors and mindsets that held you back and commit to changing them. And finally, embrace gratitude. When you're looking back on your past year, it will be super easy to fixate on the negatives. But instead of this fixation, identify the silver linings. After all, it's the journey rather than the destination that makes life truly meaningful. Embracing the journey is the key to developing a fulfilling and optimistic outlook as you enter the new sales season. As I wrap up this Monday's episode, here's the big takeaway. Regret is the enemy of progress, while reflection is the catalyst for growth. Next Monday, we'll talk about how to turn your reflections into a concrete game plan, one with structure, accountability, and the best possible chance for success. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen to your podcast. And please share this with your friends and peers. You see, your word of mouth is our entire marketing plan. I'll see you next Monday. But until then, enjoy the holidays if you're celebrating, stay safe, and remember to never let regret own you. And instead, let reflection guide you to where you want to go.
Survival of the fittest, you can sink or swim. I've been broke, I ain't never going back again. I need some C-notes, some cheddar, and a stack of ends. I need a bowl of dough, I don't need no Facebook friends. I need a pack of them snaps, a handful of Fetty Wops, and rubber band on my greenbacks. Look, dawg, don't be playing with my paper. I need every red cent, that's why I brought my little scraper.